Hello and welcome to another episode of Creed Got Robbed. It's been a minute. Things have been busy in our lives, but we're back. This is Mike, I'm your host, and I'm joined by someone who hasn't joined me before. It's probably been a little overdue, honestly. I'm joined by Ray.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, it's my man Ray. He's here. We're gonna talk about the one, I think, our big topic this time, other than the acknowledging the fact that Creed, directed by Mr. Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan, was in fact robbed by the Academy of Arts and Sciences. Aside from that point, which we must never forget, we're gonna talk a little bit about some Alien Covenant, a film that we just recently saw. But before we got to that, Ray, I wanted to talk to you because it's your first time being on here. I know people are pretty familiar with your taste in gaming from Unscripted Gaming.
Yep.
Another part of our podcast universe or conglomerate here.
Oh my God.
But I wanted to give us a brief rough rundown of I guess some of your favorite films, some movies that you've seen a lot.
Yeah. All right. So
I guess just an idea of some of your preferences so people can kind of gauge where you're coming from.
that's cool. Okay, so one of my favorite movies of all time is Jurassic Park for a variety of reasons.
It's a great choice.
Thank you. I think it's a well-shot movie, and I don't know if I would say it's underappreciated, but I would say that more people should appreciate it. Next is Aliens by James Cameron. That movie has sculpted our culture in ways I am positive many people aren't sure of. Like certain video games, certain other movies, certain forms of like figures or media just don't exist without the movie Aliens.
What What came first, Aliens or Terminator 2?
We can Google that.
I can. Why am I asking this question?
We live in the
When I
information
can just
age.
look it up. I know, right? Weird.
Next would be these are in no order except for Jurassic Park. That's at the top of my list. Interstellar, which is a great movie, except for the last 20 minutes, and then the movie just shits the bed, in my opinion.
It gets a little interesting, but I think that's one I've talked about with David before, where it's a pretty good movie, but there's just something that, it's one of the. I think a lot of movies are still pretty good if you just see them at home. But Interstellar, I think, is one that really just, with the way they've kind of designed that movie from the ground up, needs the spectacle of IMAX.
Yeah.
For it to really hit home for you, or like in a theater, because it's, man, like the second when I watched it at home, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. Then I saw it in the theater, and it's just like,
oh, don't get me
my
wrong,
God.
that movie remains gorgeous looking from start to finish. Christopher Nolan can shoot a movie like every single scene can be framed as a poster onto your wall. It's a tour de force of a movie, but storytelling wise, it just fell apart.
It's the weakest element of that movie, but it's pretty strong elsewhere. So
that's why it's one of my favorite movies, because I have such emotion and passion for how good it is that I force myself to look beyond the few things I have wrong with it. And I saw it in the theaters,
and that's it.
So I know exactly what you mean by that visual meaning between watching in theaters and watching it at home.
Yeah, and again, I know we talk about Interstellar all the time, but that score is just so good. It's so
fucking good.
it's just it. Yeah, Hans Zimmer knows what he's doing. It's almost like he's a
Groin-grabbingly
It's almost like he's a well-respected professional who's hired for a lot of movies because he does a great job.
It's almost
weird.
It's almost like he's a multi-millionaire for orchestrating good-ass music.
It's funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
I saw that he was doing tours of he played at Coachella. So I was like, that's yeah. It's like Hans Zimmer and his orchestra and an orchestra played at Coachella. Just like, I can't wear my my tribal headband to this.
I have opinions on this, and none of them are constructive.
It was just interesting. Okay, I think it's pretty rad that like I mean, and I saw some footage of the show and it was obviously packed and I was like, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Like I hope he does more touring because that would be really cool.
I'd watch it. I'd go to a Hans Zimmer
Yeah.
tour. Sure.
Any other movies from your personal history that you feel like are worth mentioning?
I got a top five.
Any
So
other favorites?
that was 3. My other 2 are again in no particular order except Jurassic Park being the top. Black Hawk Down is a movie that hits home pretty hard for me. I think it's a really, really good military, based on a true story, military movie. I have only one real problem with it. It's a little blown out in the portion of how the medic character treats the. I'm not getting to the scene in case someone hasn't seen it. It's a pretty powerful scene, but medical training has taught me, like, dude, just use a tourniquet. Be all right. But anyways, that aside, great movie. Love it. Have the special edition at home. Watch it all the time.
Yeah, and that movie has a stacked cast too. If you go back and look at it, like, it's just ridiculous because it's like Ewan McGregor, Tom Hardy before he like really had a name. It's like, how'd they get all these people in this one movie? It's awesome.
The main character, whose name I forget, I just remember he was a big actor. I'll get back to it. And the last one is Captain America: Winter Soldier. If we're looking at like favorite superhero movie. That one I can watch again and again because it goes from superhero movie to spy political thriller and then back in the superhero movie. And Captain America is one of those superhero characters that doesn't really acknowledge the fact that he kills the hell out of people with his shield throw. Like they constantly show you in the movie how heavy that shield is when he puts it on his back. You hear that loud audible conk, and that reminds you when he throws and hits someone in the head with that, they're dead. They're not.
Those guys, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah,
they're
not getting
they gotta keep it PG-13, but the implication is pain.
That's a dead man right there, and Captain America is like a combat veteran. He has no problem killing a motherfucker. It's fine.
Well, hey man, those oh my gosh, those flying aircraft carriers that are gonna kill everybody.
Oh,
they're not gonna shoot themselves down. Okay, the helicarriers. Yeah, they're not gonna shoot themselves down.
Nah, you have to throw a shield up in that son of a bitch.
Yeah, you gotta take no prisoners, Captain.
That's my top 5.
What you gotta do.
So there we go. Now people know what types of movies I like.
Beautiful, man. It's been a long time since I've seen Black Hawk Down. That's good. I should rewatch it.
It's a solid ass movie. Oh, I should also mention before we get into Alien Covenant, I am what many people would call themselves as an Alien franchise fan. I have watched every Alien movie. I follow the lore. If you were to look at my YouTube history, it's full of me listening to people's dissection of the Alien mythos. I appreciate the lore. I appreciate the video games. I appreciate the books. I appreciate the comics. So, I'm going to put that front forward before we get into talking about this movie.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm a pretty big fan of the Alien movies too. As speaking of, kind of top 5s, I guess technically it's in the universe because Alien versus Predator is
does that
something
count?
that exists.
Does that count?
But Predator is one of the best movies of all time.
Of the first one?
I mean, it's one of my favorite movies.
It's a good movie.
That movie's just so much fun.
I am a sexual Tyrannosaurus. That's a great ass line.
2 future governors in that movie. How many other movies have that many governors?
Not many.
Not one, but 2.
Not many.
That must mean it's good. But yeah, I guess final question here. So you said so you're one of the, not to be like you're one of those people, but you personally kind of lean more to a lot of people debate Aliens versus Alien. Aliens being a much more kind of action film and Alien being much closer to a horror film. You think you prefer Aliens?
No, if you put them both on like the scales of justice or the scales of what's a better movie, they are different movies. One is sci-fi horror.
They are very different.
It is. Right. It is a movie about being alone, not knowing what to do, and dealing with a threat you can't possibly fathom or imagine how to deal with. The second movie, Aliens, is about okay, you have a lot of things to deal with it, but what if that threat was so massive and numerous, and when you get up close and you start dealing with it, you realize you are way in over your head. It's like an allegory for the Vietnam War. Like, yeah, we got a lot of technology. We're gonna run in here, blow shit up, then bounce, and then when you get there, you're like, holy shit!
Oh no,
we have
this is
no
bad.
idea what was going on.
This is really bad, guys.
Everyone's dying.
We should leave
shit's
now.
getting fucked up, and when someone asked me the other day, like, what genre does Aliens fit into? It's like a sci-fi horror action movie, because there's a lot of action in it, and it still maintains that horror motif. But the movie's not really meant to scare you.
I think it's definitely more. I mean, not that Ripley isn't a badass in Alien, but in Aliens is when she makes the full-on jump to a truly badass character, in my opinion. I think so.
The problems I have with Aliens versus Alien, like the problem I have with Alien is that spoilers, I guess. 30, 40-year-old movie, like,
be warned. You have been warned.
When the captain,
there will be spoilers.
When the captain gets a face hugger on him, and it's on him for like hours, and then they're like, okay, we're not gonna do any additional scans to what that thing did on your face. We know it's keeping you alive. It's like there's probably something inside of him, and every Alien movie after then shows like, hey, just do a basic X-ray, and you can see there's something inside of him. Like, quarantine that son of a bitch, or blow him out the airlock. Astronauts have to do some weird effed up crap.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
take one for the team.
That's one thing. Kind of, if we kind of want to roll into our discussion of Alien Covenant, going to be spoiling a movie that it just recently came out, so be warned.
Is that
this is your final warning here? But that was a problem I think I had with this movie, because I think one of the things I really appreciate about Alien is how is Sigourney Weaver's character Ripley. I mean, you can tell, like, she's incredibly intelligent, and is she's compassionate and cares about her crew, but understands, like, no, there are reasons why we have these policies.
Yeah.
Just because I know this guy has a scary alien on his face, that's really messed up. We didn't see this coming, but we have to follow the quarantine. There's a reason why we have a quarantine.
Yeah.
And even though she kind of gets overruled in that decision at that point and is ultimately vindicated, obviously.
Yeah.
It feels like, I guess, kind of just the general tone of Covenant. It feels like it just kind of picks a lot of the tropes from Alien movies and sands them down to make them less interesting, and then puts them in this movie in the same way, because they essentially run into the same problem where someone is exposed to an airborne type virus, and they bring him onto the ship without question.
Can I say this? I wanted to say this. We already gave a spoiler warning, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna spoil the fuck out of this movie.
Go for it.
The part where you see the Black Plague virus, I forget what the official term for it. I think it is like the Black Plague or the Plague or the goo or whatever. When you see it like crawl into his ear, first thing I said in my head is what I was saying earlier when I was watching that movie, is like, where are their helmets? Even in Prometheus,
yes,
they had helmets and spacesuits. And
yes.
Like, you're landing on an unknown planet. Stop touching that plant. You have no idea. That could be poison ivy or worse. Why are you touching that thing? Why are you breathing this air?
And that's, like, I mean, I know writing is a hard thing to do in movies, but it a lot of times it felt like I mean, I think it also has to do with the fact that the concept of alien and aliens is, I mean, it's something the original came out in like the early 80s, late 70s. So it's something that we're very familiar with. So we understand that. This is gonna happen again to these people. But really, it's at a certain point. Like, I mean, suspension of disbelief is an interesting thing in movies, where I think you have to do enough to like. I mean, to not make things like this. Like, really, why would, like, when you ask questions about a movie that, like, well, why wouldn't you just wear a helmet? Like, you don't know that you can breathe the air here, but that doesn't mean there isn't some, like, disease that you haven't been exposed to. Like, how do these people who are in charge of a colony ship carrying, like, 2,000 people, like, off on this really important mission, how do they not make this consideration? And, like... It's usually one of the movies I really try hard not to like get picky about some stuff like that, but that was one thing I was just like, God, just wear a helmet. It's like riding a bike. Like,
I feel you have to be picky because this is a sequel to Prometheus, and again, spoiler alert, it's a sequel to Prometheus. And in Prometheus, they wore like full gear, helmets, and the whole nine because they didn't know what they were getting into, and I get that, and I respected that. In this movie, they're wearing like less than what I wear to work.
Yeah. So and that's kind of so. When they have this debate about, oh, should we stop at this planet because we picked up this radio signal, or should we keep going? The fact that they kind of throw caution to the wind here and just walk out with not really any protective gear. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of a small thing, but it's just like, it kind of takes the oomph out of like that they're being really careful about this. Yeah. Like it kind of makes that decision like, well, we know what's going to happen already. It's like, they're not really thinking about this. So clearly it's just going to happen. It's like, at a certain point, it's kind of exhausting to see yet another person like, hey, I'm the, like some of the parts in the second act of the film where it's like, okay, this crew member's head is separated.
Yeah.
Instead of alerting the rest of the people I'm here with to like, hey, we have a problem.
With his wireless
I'm going to go with his radio. I'm going to walk with this, definite AI who's definitely not lost it into this weird, scary room with this weird, scary egg that opens up and is like alive, and stick my face in it.
Look into
and
it.
See what happens.
You it's safe.
It's just.
I saw this movie in the Alamo Draft House, and when David said, "Look into it, I promise you it's safe," everyone in the theater started cracking up laughing. And it really is. That's like one of the points where you're like, "This isn't horror. What the fuck are you doing, Ridley Scott? Please."
I mean, that was just kind of something that it kind of took the wind out of the sails in this movie for me. Like, there's some pretty cool things and some cool set pieces and stuff and cool design. But it's just when these people are just making decisions that don't make a lot of sense, it's just kind of like, it just really kind of takes like any sort of meaning out of it. Like, I didn't really care about the captain just because it's like, I mean, I know it's part of his character that he's trying to like be like kind of be this big strong guy, but it's like, this is just such a wildly stupid idea. Like, why would you do this? And again, I think part of it is just that we're so familiar with this like concept of like, I mean, these are like the creatures and how the whole thing works.
Yeah.
And all the tropes are very familiar to us. So when they present the same situations, but I mean, just on their own face are less interesting, but when the characters themselves are just not thinking about it as intelligently as they did in the movie that came out in the 70s, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
You know the part of the movie where I stopped considering it a sci-fi horror and I consider it like this is like a low-key comedy. It was when the
It's not
what is it?
It's not a high-key comedy. No, it's not quite there. It's low-key.
Yeah, it's a hidden comedy. Like, really, this guy has played us off for chumps. He said he's releasing sci-fi horror. He gave you a decent comedy movie. It's when they're called neomorphs, I guess, are attacking the crew in the high grass, and it looks like something out of Jurassic Park: The Lost World. By the way, fucking impervious to bullets for now, at least at that point, and that frustrated the fuck out of me later on in the movie when you find out, oh, they actually go down the bullets relatively. Fuck. Anyways, they're in the field, they're getting attacked, and a cloaked figure fires off a flare and says, "Come with me." I was like, no,
like,
no,
we're
no,
not going to ask any questions. Okay.
No, this is a comedy. He almost said, "Come with me if you want to live." You might as well have gone the
if you
full
want to
9
live.
yards. You almost got to the end zone.
Yeah, and that scene kind of reminds me of like another. I mean, just another comparison of the going back to some of the earlier. I mean, going back to like Alien, because Alien has a lot of. I mean, this is kind of like an age-old thing with like horror movies. Is that what you can imagine, and what is always going to be a lot scarier than what they can actually put on screen.
Yeah.
So the fact that we have like an alien bursting out of somebody's chest in like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, and then is like if full blown, like there are two little critters running around like slicing people's like jaws off. It's like there's no like no escalation.
No.
It's just kind of again it takes all the meaning out of it. Like
it's very schizophrenic.
And then so there's like, yeah, so it's like there's nothing else to build up to, I guess. And the first Alien did a really good job of. I mean, you don't see like the fully grown alien until like the last 10 minutes of the movie, and that you're just like, oh my god, like it's really scary. Like when you see it in like the third act and how just that restraint. Again, it's just like that's kind of the overarching theme about my thoughts of this movie. It's just that societally, like we're so familiar with the ideas that Alien kind of comes with, that seeing them once again but having less restraint doesn't quite do it for me.
Yeah.
And then I guess kind of transitioning into a different kind of vibe of this movie. So a lot of those original kind of tropes of Alien don't have the same punch as they used to. I don't think they're as effectively delivered here as well, which doesn't help either.
Help me to understand.
I mean, just kind of like what I was saying. So it's like not only are we really familiar with the things that make Alien work, it's just not done as well as it was in the earlier films.
Oh yeah.
And then, as if to kind of give this movie more oomph, I just really, because this movie draws. I mean, obviously, well, sidebar, we haven't really mentioned this. This movie makes zero sense if you haven't seen Prometheus, by the way.
Yeah. This is a direct sequel.
And
don't listen to Ridley Scott.
I guess, yeah, and just a lot of like the pseudo philosophy about like the creation and how David and wants to be like, he was disappointed by meeting his creator, so he wants to be a creator, of the ultimate species. Like just a lot of that stuff is, I mean, not that it wasn't questions I didn't have about Alien, but I guess I just didn't like. That just wasn't really interesting to me.
I actually like David. Can I just say Michael Fassbender is acting his ass off in this movie, just giving a fucking performance.
That was one of the things I really did enjoy about this movie. I mean, he does a great performance, and like between David, who's like this he's like this kind of uncanny valley, like too perfect android, compared to Walter, who's a lot more like, I guess, colloquial.
Yeah.
Like, and seeing the subtle differences between them are really great. And I think Michael Fassbender is a great actor. And that was another thing too, is like, I think Danny McBride and the lead actress, unfortunately, I cannot remember her name off the top
Hold
of my
on,
head.
I was just looking at a Wikipedia article of her because, I'm just gonna say she's cute. She's cute. There, I put it out there.
Yeah, like I thought she did a great job. If you're getting her name up,
Catherine Waterston.
Catherine Waterston.
Waterston. Waterston.
Waterston.
Yeah.
Aha. I thought I really liked like Danny McBride's Tennessee, and I liked her character. Like I think like their performance, like the acting performances were pretty solid. But I think Michael Fassbender definitely stole the show, and a lot of his, especially the scenes with Walter and David.
Yeah. Except for the fingering part, that part could have burned in the fire. And again, Ridley Scott taking this all for chumps. Like low-key comedy.
It's just, yep. I'll do the fingering, right? It's like, oh my.
I was like, are you?
Oh my.
What the fuck is your
my.
deal? I want to take back the Alien franchise and make it great.
my.
I'll do the fingering, Walter. What the fuck is your problem? Someone wrote that, and someone said that's okay.
That's pretty great. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what your complaint is.
Oh, I didn't like Danny McBride's. I liked his acting overall, but I wasn't convinced by his character when they told him that his wife died. Granted, they didn't tell him how his wife died, like a chump. But his character, like, he barely sheds a tear. He's just like in like that one part of the ship, and then the camera cuts off, and you're like, I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting any emotion. Like, your wife just died on an alien planet, and you don't even know how, and you're protecting it pretty well. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, and yeah, I know I keep jumping around a lot, like, because we were kind of talking about like the philosophizing of the origin of Alien, and
yeah,
Guy Pearce is disappointing, yeah, but I think kind of going back to just like the intelligence angle here. I know that there was like a big storm in like the first Alien when they were exploring this planet, but it's like they have a choice. Okay, we have this massive colony ship, and we want to explore this radio beacon, this like signal.
Yeah.
Maybe we should wait until this literal hurricane
Yeah.
that is gonna block all communication. Maybe we should just chill for like a day before we go check this out.
Yeah.
Maybe we should. No, we have to go right now. Right, we have to go through the hurricane.
They
Just
do.
wait.
You know, I didn't think about that.
Like-
yeah.
Like, if we just wait for this hurricane to just move, then then the movie obviously doesn't work, because that would be the smart thing to do. And that's the one kind of nagging thing about
It's just
about
bad
this movie
sci-fi. It's
I mean,
such
there's
bad
some-
sci-fi.
it's like there's some really great visuals, there's some cool acting, there's some fun action, like the stuff like in the towards the third act is cool, but it's just like when the movie is dependent on your characters being dumb, it kind of like I said, it just takes the wind out of like the tension, just because you're not expecting like someone to come up with a clever solution. You're just kind of waiting for the inevitable bad stuff to happen, just because, like, well, these people are too stupid to not wait a day. Like, if this transmission's been going for like years, they can probably wait one more day.
Can we talk about how much of a... By the way, you're absolutely right. That's another point where the movie is just horrific sci-fi. Yeah, we're astronauts, and we have a colony ship. We don't know anything about this planet. Let's deep dive into like the worst part of the planet at the worst time.
Yeah.
Right now. You're absolutely right. That is just inexcusably bad writing. Like, no one would do that. No one in their right mind.
Yeah, it's like, who gave the... Oh.
This movie is actually a huge kick in the dick if you're an Alien fan, of a fan of the franchise, because there's always that mystery of like, where did the xenomorphs come from? Did the Predators create them? Are they their own caste system? Did the Predators steal eggs? If you tie the AVP universe and you declare that canon. Or is it like something different? Are they more mysterious? And this movie kind of says like, nah, David created them because he was fucking bored. Like,
Yes, it's like,
that's awful. That's horrible.
yeah, and all this stuff. It's like, hey, we had this character in Prometheus who, I mean, I thought Prometheus was like okay.
It's
like,
okay.
I liked it,
It's
but
alright. It's got some
it's like, okay, well, Elizabeth Shaw, she's interesting. Oh, she's dead.
Oh, they
that's
just
sad.
killed the
She's-
fuck
that's
out
sad.
of
It's
her.
like, oh no, actually, we like her body's still here. Like, I was like, really? That's, yeah, like, come on, that's it.
Can I also just say, like, the movie treats you like an idiot. This is how much the movie hates you as a person. the David Walter swap. They drag that out for 15 minutes, and everyone's like, "Come on, man!
Yes.
Come on!"
It's like, I mean, a Chekhov's gun is something that happens is in every film. That's how you build tension and how you get people thinking about one thing. But it's called Chekhov's gun, not Chekhov's gun sitting in somewhere in the room, not Chekhov's I'm hitting you with this like literal this baseball bat in your face for like 10 minutes.
I'm hitting you with
There's
the
a
gun.
difference there. Like I don't know if how it would have worked, but like I would have loved for that to kind of be like a little more ambiguous. I mean, because the second you see it's just like the one shot of like David reaching for that knife. It tells you all you need to know. So you're just waiting for these people who are dumb to like, figure it out, and then they tragically figured out a little too late.
Like that fast, and he chopped his own arm.
Yeah, it's like
because they had like
exactly.
seconds.
It's like as soon as he cuts his hair, it's like earlier in the film, you're like, okay, I know where this is going.
Yeah. This is obvious.
And
also, why can't an android's hair grow? Who the fuck programs an android's hair to grow? What reason do you have for that? That implies that he ate something. What the fuck did he eat for sustenance to make his hair grow? Why is it a thing?
He's photosynthetic.
I
But it's too cloudy on this planet, which is why he went crazy.
Oh.
There you go. Bam.
Oh.
You just got Ridley Scott. How does it feel?
You've been scotted. Now,
You just got scotted.
Can I give credit to this movie for one scene that was truly actually inspired a bit of horror? And I felt like had the movie taken like the cues from this and the rest of this was the movie, I would have loved it because it would have been true alien horror. The part where the crew member, ignore the part of the stupidity where the crew member gets dragged aboard the ship. I don't know his name. Who cares? Also, side view. Remember how he says the line, "I'm going to go take a piss"? He never pees. He just smokes half of a cigarette. That's one of the more disappointing things about this movie. It can't even follow through with the piss take of the character. That said,
0 out of 10.
When they drag him aboard the ship, and you see he's gray, he's freaking out, he's convulsing, and you see the neomorph burst out of his back, and then he splits over because he's dead and his spine is broken off, and the placenta, and then the neomorph little egg sac, and I'm like, this is good, gory horror. All right, I'm in, I'm back into the movie, let's go. And then you just see like, you see this woman get like ripped apart by something the size of a chihuahua, like. Dude, fuck it up! You gotta. What's going on here? Don't go out like this.
It's like the person slips on blood, and then it's like, oh no, I really hope that. Second person slips on blood. It's like,
oh, when she slipped on blood, that's just fucking like Three Stooges bullshit right there.
That's what it did kind of feel out of place.
And then she's so bad. She hits the neomorph with her shotgun twice, but that doesn't kill it. But the third time she hits like a canister or something that like blows up the ship, but you see the neomorph escape, you're like, Jesus Christ, these things are impervious. Then later on in the movie you see like, oh no, he took it out with like 10 bullets. Easily.
Yeah. It just feels like you have to do a lot of work to kind of you have to do a lot of backbending to kind of justify intelligence in a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're just like, wait a minute, these people might. It's just I think a lot of this movie is just based on these characters not being very intelligent, which is just not. It's not that fun to watch. Like again, in like the first Alien, like you can like Ripley's very intelligent.
Yes.
Like, and it's the crew is like once they realize like what this. Okay, it's like we don't know what this thing can do. We need to kind of flush it in the right places. Let's be careful. Like we can't shoot it because acid blood will like. It's like they learn and you learn with them.
Yeah.
And it feels like, and this movie just didn't really have that, and kind of replaced that with, like, Philosophy 101, like, what is to create, and weird little And just that just really didn't do it for me. Sidebar: I really did like that scene when like the captain was like knocked out and then he like was like waking up because David was throwing rocks at him.
Again, low-key
I don't know
comedy.
why. I was
There's
just
the
like,
comedy
this is like
bits.
so. It's like, man, this guy's gonna die in like 5 seconds. You really gotta wait. Like, you just gotta start throwing rocks at him.
'Cause
Like,
he's a
really?
dick.
Like, I was just like, this is weird. That's pretty funny, but huh?
Well, another
I'll
kick in
do
the
the
dick to
fingering.
Alien franchise fans. Why did the Xenomorph burst out of his chest fully formed?
Yeah, and it's just like it's like a weird little one, and it like salutes David.
No,
It's like-
it does a cruci. It does a cross symbol, is what it's doing.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I
this
feel like
movie's full of religious symbolism.
I feel like yeah, and it's not exactly. It's like it's full of it, but it's not like it doesn't really do anything for me. Like
Nah.
it just feels kind of hollow.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels like it like that scene like when it comes out of the captain and I feel like we're like one tiny step away from like the scene in Spaceballs.
Yeah,
like,
where it
hello my
sings."
baby, hello my honey, hello my ragtime gal. Like I feel like I don't know why it was just like we're so close to that and it's like
Yeah, when I was watching that scene,
Okay.
like a piece of my alien mythos mind said, like, something's not right here. Isn't it supposed to be like a worm-like creature that takes hours to grow? And no, it like took like minutes to grow into
Yeah.
a fully formed xenomorph, and then it starts
again
fucking
because
shit up.
it's just like they have to have like there's no patience. There's no restraint.
There's
I mean,
zero
it's ki-
restraint in this movie. You're absolutely right. None.
Again, it's like I feel like I've beaten this point to death before, but it's like that's like what it's kind of how accidentally what made the original Jaws so good is because their shark looked weird
Yeah.
and they wanted to have it in as little scenes as possible, so they really only showed a little bit of it at a time, which was effective because it keeps the payoff until the end. And this movie just does not really do that.
Can we talk about the third act and how truly bad the CG for the xenomorph looks in the third act? I hear or I read and I watched that supposedly they were going to use practical effects. You know, I feel in the movie Aliens and Alien, it's more impactful when it's someone in a suit because it's a person starting to move weird. And if it's CG, you're like, all right, you're just going to move it like animalistically and it's not going to look as cool or weird. And this thing just like, rewatch the scene. You can find it on YouTube easily, where you see the xenomorph crawl down the ladder through the escape hatch when David's watching on the monitor. Its spines clip through the hole like a fucking 2001 PS1 video game because they couldn't be fucked to show.
Yeah,
that it wouldn't fit
some
there.
of that like I mean I think like yeah that was something. I mean I get I get it. Like I get why, but and there's probably like lots of practical stuff. Then I think the movie looks good and has some really cool design stuff, but having a lot of that stuff, having a lot of the xenomorph stuff be CG, it just felt like it
felt like they stopped caring.
It did feel like less physical than it did in like previous entries because they were like humans in like suits and like it felt a lot less like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a lot less just. I mean, you could just tell. You very easily tell just because it was very well. Like they used CG in past ones, but they hit it pretty well with a lot of practical effects, and a lot of movies do that nowadays. So.
Yeah.
But it's like it felt like less. It felt less grounded because this thing was like zipping all over the place in ways that it hadn't in previous movies. So I kind of had a bit of a disconnect there. But yeah, so I guess I wouldn't. I guess not to be kind of looking forward here.
Hey.
Box office wise, I think this movie's gonna do. It looks like it's gonna do
it's doing
okay.
fine so far.
I wouldn't be surprised if the kind of lukewarm. I mean, I think it's at like a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it got like a pretty solid reception. But I think I wouldn't be if they put Alien on ice for a while. I wouldn't be outraged. I think it's. I mean, if this movie just feels so familiar and just draws from a lot of tropes in Alien and just didn't execute on them as effectively as it had already been done. So
yeah, the third act is like Alien.
Yeah.
Worse than
like almost verbatim.
Worse than Prometheus. By far.
Yeah. It's like there are some good elements I liked, but again, I wouldn't be opposed to putting Alien on ice for a minute.
Can I unpack that with you? I mean, like the time gap between Prometheus and Alien Covenant is 5 years, so it's arguable that the series was already on ice. How long you talking?
Well, that is a good point. I guess we'll have to wait and see, and how I guess what the kind of final thoughts are on, Hollywood business accounting end of what this movie ends up doing, because I'm really curious to see like does like Michael Fassbender come back for a new Alien movie? Like, I don't know. I don't know what I really want a new Alien movie to do. It's just weird. Like I don't really know what I would want in another Alien movie at this point. But I guess it's probably a good thing I'm not a writer then.
I mean, these prequels that we've seen, both of them, they're pretty much talking about David the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of okay with that because I find David the android an interesting character.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. So I wouldn't be. Yeah, that's yes.
Yeah, yes,
I agree. Yes.
I mean, if they like say like David, can I spitball here for a second?
Go for it.
If they say like David created the xenomorphs and David used the colonists, because at the end of the movie, by the way, that was weird. Where David like, I just have facehugger eggs I could just place in this thing. Where the fuck did you get those and when and why?
It's like, wait, there's already frozen away. Wait a minute.
No, fuck you, movie. That's one of those movies.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
When
it's like, oh, it's playing the music. Yeah.
So David takes those and he creates like he goes to the new world and he creates Xenomorph Prime. I'm kind of invested if that's the direction that they go. It really strips the lore of a lot of respect, and it takes a lot of it takes all like the fun mystery out of it, and it really kind of like gets rid of Alien versus Predator entirely.
It just I think the kind of my closing note on this movie is like this movie understands that Alien had a lot of interesting unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And people kind of like I personally sometimes like I'm okay with questions being left unanswered.
Yeah.
If the mystery is really interesting in and of itself. And this movie it kind of gave me a lot of answers to questions I didn't really want the answer to, and in a way that it wasn't really satisfying to me. So that's kind of it. That's kind of my final thoughts on this movie. I think if you're a fan of Alien, kind of the franchise, I think it's worth a watch. It's pretty familiar, but I think it'd be worth checking out. But I personally, if you're kind of on the fence with Alien, there are a couple of movies you should probably watch first.
Just go rewatch Aliens.
Maybe, yeah, that's what you should do. Actually, well, Ray, I think that's a pretty good combo. We're right about 45 minutes here, so I think we can kind of wrap it up here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll be on the usual places where you find us. And we'll have I might be seeing some other movies coming up lately as the summer blockbuster season continues, and we'll have some ongoing thoughts. And Ray, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Or me. Yeah, we should do more. Go see some movies, and we'll come talk about it again. So, again, this is Mike. I'm your host, and don't forget that greed got robbed.